Hey everybody, we made it back from Indianapolis, which was easy for us but challenging for others. We had a very early flight. Well, not the earliest. Our flight was like at 6:30, something like that, 6:15. But the challenge for us was we had to go to Denver to transfer to flight to Burbank actually, and that was a challenge. We had 30 minutes, and it was in the same terminal, but like it was so far away, shockingly. I mean, we've been there before. The funny thing was, Nikki, I realized last year we went, and I asked Nikki if she recalled doing it, and she was like, no. I go, well, we did, and we were able to make it just barely. Well, we'd have been fine, but it was nice because we were able to sit together, which we've been flying Southwest. I guess they're going to change that, which isn't terrible. We don't mind it. We always use their automatic check-in so that we don't have to remember it, because goodness gracious, if we're required to remember it, isn't going to happen. Hey, Scott. I did sleep, so I did sleep okay. We got home, and I was mentioning to Scott at 11 that we'd already been up for 11 hours, 11 a.m. our time here in Southern California, and that we'd already been up 11 hours because we got up at 3 a.m. in Indianapolis, which would be midnight here. And so I did a little bit of stuff and then crashed, and then woke up. We had dinner. I did not want to directly go to bed, and I was reading some stuff. I'm a Plex user, and I go down the rabbit hole reading some of people's troubles. And then I finally decided I better go to bed. And I slept pretty well, but it was it's warm here. And I don't really love, I've talked a lot at the convention, of course, and we wore masks. We are trying not to get COVID to give to my mom or Nikki's parents. So it really wears your voice out. And so I'm okay, but the air conditioning just dries me out. So we went without it, but had the windows open, but it was fine. We had a really good time. So amazingly, I had quite a few people come up and tell me how much they like the paint streams, which I know there's some people that watch, but I am surprised. You know, and then one lady wrote me on Instagram, I think, about her son wanting to paint, and asked if I had a video that showed suggestions. And I'm like, well, I kind of go, you know, I buy some stuff as we're going along here, and so I will often, you know, just talk about what I just purchased and be excited about it, and so I didn't really have anything. So I put together a list for her, but she ran into Nikki and wanted her to thank me for putting that together. I came up with like sort of essentials, but things like I was like, well, you don't need everything, and you shouldn't spend a lot to get started. But he's still painting, her son's still painting, which is exciting. So it was cool. We saw a lot of people and had a bunch of meetings early. So everybody was trying to get the meetings done early, which is cool. But for us, it's a little harder, you know, because we were just super busy on Thursday and not terribly busy on Friday, but busy enough. And so we were happy to Saturday and Sunday we did not wear BGG shirts, although people totally recognize us, but we were just trying to like do some stuff without sweating it, and we did have a great time doing that. I do need to get water in this thing. Maybe I can make do without it. I had left I have a reservoir that has this inverted bottle on it, and I left it the whole time we were gone, which was basically 2 weeks, and it dried out and got kind of messy. I didn't buy too much stuff in general at Gen Con. I bought stuff for Scott. He wanted some games, and so we picked up a few things, but a lot of it was sold out. So the Hot Games Room really, truly is a great place to go and catch games that are just sold out all over the place, or just sold out each day. I did go back one day and got Scott something. Oh, it was the Comic Hunters. They did, I guess they got more, because I had heard they were only selling 30 a day. That was at Spin Master. And so we went back and they did have it. We had the downer was on Saturday we had an early meeting, and then, so we couldn't be there at the opening. But we did get in there after we were through with that meeting and pick that up. We also picked up, Scott had purchased a copy of Thunder Road Vendetta, Maximum Chrome one, on Kickstarter, and then he gave it to the library, so he didn't have a copy. And they had a small amount of those that they put out. One of the things I appreciated that they did was they didn't have people waiting at opening, because I feel a lot of those folks are people working the booths. Now, you know, they're entitled to try to get the games too, and it's hard. But what they were doing is they were selling them later in the day. So, for example, we wanted to try to get Scott The Gang, which is a poker game, a cooperative poker game. I guess it's a heist. I mean, we didn't get to play it. We wanted to, and so they put that on sale at 3. Well, the day that we looked, Scott gave us the list of what he wanted. Did you get to play anything? We did get to play stuff. We played Landmarks, which we actually have received prior to the con, but we hadn't gotten a chance to play it. That one's neat. I think Scott might like it. It's a deduction game, cooperative, where you are trying to guide people through this terrestrial map that varies, right? It's like you have a card for each map that you're going to do, and it's just a bunch of hexagons, and you start with 3 basic, I guess they're things, but they're 3 words, and then you build upon that, trying to navigate through like traps and curses. I was going to say hexes, but curses is the same. And you want to get gold, treasure, and water, which replenishes your tiles. So the way it works is you have a set of 7 tiles, and you're writing clues, hexagons, and you're putting them, you give them to the team, you write your clue on it, and they are looking at the 3 and growing clues that, you know, as you add them, and then they determine where it goes, and then you let them know whether they're safe, or they found something, or they ran into something bad. And it's really quite cool. Eric Martin said he had an issue with it where if you get like out and you only have a single tile to reference, then that people are left with 3 spaces that they generally, could be more depending on what the setup is, but they're generally left with 3 spaces that are possible spaces that you could put it on. And so that was a little, I understood that one, but we were having a really good time with it. We played that one like 4 or 5 times. We also played, which one was one we played before. It's a very quick game called, now called Duck and Cover from Captain Games. Candace got, well, they were trying to give it to all of us, but Candace ended up taking it home, I believe, of a prototype of it that's coming at Spiel. And it's a cool little game where you have 12 ducks with values 1 through 12, and you're trying to get it down to a pile that has a single value. If you can get it to a single value, so the values aren't 1 through 12. There's like a little spot on them where the 1 is worth 0 and the 12 is worth 5. So they vary from that point, and your goal is to either get to the lowest number, because the winner is after 3 rounds the lowest total number, So if you can get it down to one of the low numbers, you're going to have 1 or 2. But one of the tricks is if you can get to a single pile, that value is subtracted from your total. And so I actually won the second game that I did not think I was doing well on, because I put a 5, which was a value 2, I believe, on top of my 1, which is a value 0, which you think, okay, I want to do the, I was like, oh shoot, it's going to cover, and they're like, oh, wait a second. And so then that subtracted my total, and I ended up having like a total of 3 in the game, which was really, it's really great. The art is really fun. They have each set of decks, which I think there's at least 6, has a different theme. One was historical. My favorite was the historical one, but they had sweets and Hollywood people, I think, and stuff like that. It was pretty great. Thanks for masking up at Gen Con. Some folks, hey, seriously, and thanks, Adam. Some people did get sick. I don't know. It's not fun, I will tell you that now. We generally have been masking at every con since we started going again. And it is not fun, and it is hard on your voice, particularly because we actually have like 2 filters in our mask. And some, you know, it's, especially when it's loud, you're like basically shouting through your mask. And so that part isn't great. But we did have a good time, and we did see a lot of people. I did play some pinball. Our team ran into me over there by myself. They were shooting some video, and so they got some footage of me. I didn't get grand champion. But you know, they were giving away trophies. I was not trying to do that. I was actually there just to collect badges from some. So I had to play machines with R in the title. So I was on Aerosmith, which I love that machine, but I never get to see it. Because I guess it's kind of rare, and everybody who has it wants to keep it. But I was having a great time playing, and Candace yells at me, and so then I'm like, oh. And I don't think they caught me getting, as I think I said, they didn't catch me getting the number 1 score, but not grand champion. I did play James Bond for fun. I really love James Bond 007, and it was not tied to Insider Connected, so I think I got like number 3 score on that one, but that didn't count, and I didn't need it anyway. I didn't need to play an R. That didn't have an R in the title. I played, gosh, what did I play that had R? Not Deadpool. I did play Deadpool. Oh, Deadpool was another badge, so I only got 1 of them, but I was kind of burning out. It's in the hallway between the main convention center and then the stadium, the Lucas Oil Stadium, which was amazing. It was just great. I mean, it was really a great time. We had hanging out with a bunch of people. We actually got, so Jackie was very busy signing for DeVere for her game Rock Hard 1977. So we ran in there to see her on Saturday, and we had a lunch scheduled with the Brothers Murph because they moved away 2 months ago. So we, I guess it was 2 months ago? Yeah, just about 2 months ago. And Jackie was free, so she joined us, and it was awesome. We actually had quite a good time meal-wise. We actually went with our friend Dwight to a delicatessen, which is not close. I mean, it is close. I mean, we're not incapable of walking. So we walked a few blocks. So we left outside of Lucas Oil and then walked south. And it was south of the hotel I stayed at 3 years ago in 2021. And so that's how I found it. I don't know if I went into it. I must have. I think Beth and I went, and it was awesome. Beth and I were like ninjas in 2021 because we were shipping packages the whole time we were there. And that was on one of our runs. I was like, let's go try it out. I thought they were closed on the weekends, but it turns out they have breakfast, but we did not try to go back. I think we had a breakfast scheduled. We did. I met with Adam Smasher, Adam Loper from Tabletop Tycoon on Sunday. It was great. He had us come to him where he was staying. It was a little bit far, but we had been to that restaurant chain before. But it was great. We didn't have a meeting scheduled at the very beginning, so we were able to chat and head over there a little bit later. It was really great. They had a lot of great stuff going on. We just couldn't do it all. I'm like destroying things here. But we were really fortunate. We ran into a lot of people just by chance. We had that crazy luck before. It's so bizarre that we are able to. Now, we didn't get to meet everybody. That was the downer. Sunday we were trying not to go crazy, and we're avoiding being in the hall too long. And we went to go visit the SDJ folks, and we saw Mr. B Games and Mayfair Games booth with Keith and Sean, and so we went to visit them, and it was an hour and a half. So we were, that was meant to be a quick in and out after we'd already been in there that day. So we were going to help out. They did not expect us to help out boxing the games that go from the Hot Games Room back to Dallas, but we wanted to help. And part of the issue is like, my thing is I want to look around underneath the tables to see if we can find any of the missing pieces for the games. And we only had, it was already done by the time we got there, and we didn't bring any games. That's one of the things we'll do, is we will look at the games that we received and then pick some of them, because we don't have a ton of time really before Spiel to play with people, and we didn't. They were already taped up, and so we're like, and Lainey was saying she'll be in Dallas in 2 weeks, and she'll send us some stuff if we want it. And one of the things I think we do want to get is the gang. Gosh, what else was there? We played stuff every night. Maybe not. One of the nights we were really tired, so maybe Friday night we didn't. Although we were there. I don't recall. Nikki taught. What did she teach? Goodness gracious. Oh, I don't remember. It's so funny. We played. I know we played more. I've got to really get my brain on position here. Anyway, it still was a lot of fun, and we had a very good time, and we're completely, it's a treat. Like, we have to work pretty hard up into that event, and I still had to do some things while I was there. Mostly, so we went to Dallas for 5 days beforehand, and most of the work I had to do was that while we were there, because everybody is still working. The brothers Murph and Derek and Candace were working up until they left, so that was a few days later, and so there were things to deal with on that, and so I had to do that on the road a little bit, but mostly we were able to kind of unplug and enjoy the event, and so we were still a little frazzled and worn out. It is strange, like, being that 3 hours time difference was kind of noticeable for us by the time we got there, and it was only 1 hour time difference from Dallas, so I don't know exactly why we were. So I mean, it's a lot of stuff. We went to one of the promotions companies has like a little thing in one of the suites in the stadium, and so you go in there and they have some drinks and snacks and a goodie bag, and we went in, and the nice thing is first of all, the stadium's surprisingly quiet. In 2017, I think, was the 50th anniversary, they asked if we wanted to have the Hot Games Room in the stadium, and we thought about it, and we're like, no, that probably wouldn't be a good idea. And then we went in there, and it was very quiet, like white noise sound, because it just gets swallowed by the stadium. And that was amazing. And so we went to their thing, and you go into their spot, and then you can sit out on the balcony, in the seats. Nikki sat out there for a little while I was talking to some folks, and rested her feet. It was really nice. Jamie was, she works with Van Ryder Games. They had her on one of the displays, which was pretty fun. I can't imagine how expensive that is. I don't know if Nikki took footage of it. She was going to, but she might not have. She did. I know she watched it all the way through. So, but it was fun. Last year they had above board up there, which was awesome. Now, they had some fun. I mean, Jamie's not speaking because you know you can't hear it. The other above board had cue cards or something like that. That was very fun, so it's neat. I didn't go to see D&D live, which we couldn't. I'm terrible about like looking at the events, and that was kind of like our Nikki's and my realization that we should try to book our things, and then specifically the stuff like book things for the final 2 days where we're more likely to have time, and then schedule what we can around it, but also look at the evening stuff. There was a Kurt Vonnegut game that Jeff Engelstein had resurfaced through the family that I would have liked to have seen. I think that was on Sunday. I know Dwight went to go see that, but we really wanted to actually shop the hall. And so I'll get to the thing here that I bought. Let me change cameras here. I wanted a lot of things. I wanted, is that the right one? Yeah. I wanted, first of all, we saw a bunch of the stuff from Shatterpoint, and they had a deal on it, and I really wanted to get them, but I didn't. Part of it is we just were nervous about how much we had to take home. We try not to take home too much, but we ended up taking home quite a bit, and we had to have some stuff shipped, which Beth just sent me a notification. I will have to write her. But that means everything will be here in a few days, and so Christoph is coming. He's from the children's jury, SDJ jury, and he is coming from after visiting Vegas. He's going to come visit for about a week. And so we'll have some time with him, and we'll probably film some stuff. Deborah has said she would like to do that. As a matter, I think when Christoph came and actually was on Game Night for the first time, it was with Deborah. Gosh, that was 5 years ago. And then I feel like he was involved. He couldn't have been involved in any of the nominated games. Unless he came after BGG Spring. Maybe he did. Anyway, we will have some games. We already have some stuff we brought home. We have Rock Hard 1977 already, so we'll probably get to that. Anyway, I went to Monument Hobbies and bought some of their boxes. I actually looked, I think this one was in stock at Common Ground, but I was reluctant to maybe pack it, so I bought the fluorescents. I did not realize they got rid of blue. I thought they had fluorescent blue. Now, fluorescent blue is not very strong, and so I don't think they have it at all anymore, which means I'll have to buy another one. But it's not very fluorescent. But I've seen some. I think Vince Venturella had a thing about it, so I ended up buying these, which is exciting. He said that they were good, and others have said they were good, and I have some Vallejo, at least one color. I think it's green, so it's not really like I wished I had the blue. I feel like I have blue though somewhere, so who knows. But anyway, they don't have theirs anymore. But I got these, which are pretty strong, so hopefully they'll be. I mean, there's some cool effects. Vincent did a thing where he used it to really pop out like a red cape using the fluorescent red, or a fluorescent red. I think he was using this one though. But they're really quite good, and I'm looking forward to using them. I have quite a bit of the Proacryl Monument Hobbies. The issue is, I would love to have all of their colors. I don't have the space. But I also need to just use up a bunch of acrylics I already have. I already gave a whole batch of stuff to a friend's daughter who was going to paint stuff. And so I was like, well, these are all newer than the ones I'm using still. Not new in quotation marks, newer. And so I sent those along to her. So I'll get these in. I think I can put these in the space, but I also have all the metallics. I have most, if not all, of the translucent paints. Let me see. I use that translucent yellow all the time. But they're great because they include the mixing balls, inside the paint, and so does Army Painter with their speed paints and the Fanatics, which I would love to get those too. So we had the meeting with, not the meeting, the breakfast with Adam, and he is like on their studio team. So he goes to some events, and he went to this event, but he was kind of on his own, but he ended up helping out. They don't sell at booths here in the United States because for tax reasons, but they do have, they had a painting competition, so he was there helping with that one day when some folks needed to meet or something. And then I also bought the Rogue Hobbies paints. I watched her video a while back, and her colors are amazing. So she specifically picked colors that could mix into just about any color. So she has a video where she shows trying to match Citadel paints with these 6 colors. And it's pretty amazing. But also, I just want to have more of their paints. I actually wanted the Vincent Venturella box as well, but I was nervous about storage. And so thankfully, I mean, they're sealed inside the box. I believe you peel you have to peel something off the top or something to so it doesn't spill. And we put it in our, we did wrap it in a bag, but we put it in our luggage. And thankfully everything got here. That was the other thing. We were nervous about our bags making it from the Indianapolis flight to Denver to our next flight because we had such a short, there was such a short amount of time. They had essentially about 55 minutes or something like that before the plane took off. But ours were the first out. When they started coming out at Burbank, they were the first ones out. I'm really eager to try these colors. This is now like a phenomenal yellow, bismuth yellow. So I'll have one. That's always the one so what I normally buy when I buy paints is I buy a pink. And the very first, if not, well, one of the first, if not the very first, was this magenta from them. And it's good. It's not what I want. What I want is this color that nobody has. This is my the last bit of my Warlock purple. Now, I knew it wouldn't be the same, but I was hopeful. But look, that one could be very close. It's not the same, but it's close. Now, I don't know if Louise from Rogue Hobbies likes this. I mean, I know she loves pinks and stuff, but this is an older color. I don't know when they got rid of it. I don't even feel like there's any paint in here anymore. And I used, when I went with Sebastian, I painted a car, gosh, was that 2 years ago? I painted a vehicle for, goodness, what is the name of the game? The Osprey Games racing, the post-apocalyptic racing game. Goodness gracious, it's around here somewhere. My brain is, I'm tired. I used it on that car, and it was, I felt like I was using it, and I was like, oh, wait a second, I really shouldn't be using this one. Sebastian's he's really great, and he's good at mixing colors and stuff. But anyway, so I used it, and I felt bad, but I'm like, I shouldn't have, but I sure love that color. He actually buys used sets of paints and miniatures and stuff like that on eBay, and he revitalizes them all. So if you leave them, as long as they're not completely, rubber, you can, or latex, latex blob, you can basically revive the colors. So yeah, I got some bright colors here. Let's see what no blue with this one, but look at these. This fluorescent purple looks great too. So yeah, it's cool. I'm hoping this is similar. I suspect it'll be close. But yeah, they use the whole, the mixing balls and all that stuff. But I want to get some of the Warpaint's Fanatic paints too. They had, I guess, a local store in the convention were selling some of the paints for like a small set for Army Painter, but it was not. It was just, it's one I can get easily, which is fine. It turns out, I guess, that they have like a full complete set that was just a limited time thing. And so, which is fine. I do not need that. I didn't need to spend $750 or I think it was as little as $600 something on miniature market, but that's still too much, and it's 200 and something bottles. I don't have room for that stuff. Let me see if these will fit here. Yes, they will. Hooray! So I have space. Now I have, talk about old paints. Here's Citadel Foundation paints that you don't even use anymore. What year were these? These were made in China, I think, too. Yeah, made in China, which is very strange. They were okay. They smelled like house paint to me, so maybe they were basically house paint. But I am excited. I can actually put some of that stuff away. I probably can put all of them in there. I mean, I have their old washes from that era still. Was this made in China too? Sure was. It's still liquidy, but their foundations were actually pretty good. Well, here's the deal. I don't know how they compare nowadays. They were more like modern paints, where one coat would do a pretty good job covering it. Thunder Road. Did I say that, Leon? Did I miss you? It was awesome. Gaslands Refueled. Yeah, Thunder Road too. There you go. Both of them. But it was Gaslands, yes. Fantastic. We played it a couple times back then. I really love it. I want to I talked to Aaron about doing it on the show. He was all in. And he wanted to paint them with me. You know, he didn't want me to give him the painted stuff. But we just haven't had time. He has been so busy. So maybe Nikki and I will paint him, but maybe Aaron will be free. He's talking about having, you know, he's part of the Red County Registrar, so he works the elections here in Southern California. So he is very busy, of course, this year. So we shall see. But it has been funny because we have filmed things with him in that time frame, but not a lot. And everybody with his beard when he was on, both Captain Flip and Arkham Horror was shocked about it. His beard does make him look old. He's the youngest one of all of us, but that beard makes him look old. I actually would like to paint Leon the Thunder Road stuff too, but yeah, Gaslands is the bomb. I really, really want to do it. I just have to get stuff for it. Let's see, I haven't opened this in forever. Oh, it's still got liquid. Doesn't smell like house paint like I thought. Still smells like paint though, but who knows how good it is. I do have, let's see, I have some distilled water. Let's try to thin this up. But yeah, Gaslands is awesome. I don't have my cars. I actually put they're actually here next to me in a crate. But I want to get to that, back to that. I have lots of stuff I worked on. And Sebastian just keeps, every time we go, he's just got so much more stuff. He's such a good, well, he hasn't had as much time as he normally has, but he is such a kind of like organized hobbyist where he will actually paint and get stuff done all the time. And I want to be like that. I don't have as much time as I'd like free, and when I do get time free, I kind of just want to hang out with Nikki. You know, both of us have stuff we're constantly working on or doing. She does a little bit more of her hobby, which is great. I don't. So this is what's the treat about doing these on the stream here, because I will actually work on them, which is not always, doesn't always happen. But I did go to, gosh, what are they called? I have the lamp out here, don't I? Game Envy. So I've been backing Game Envy forever. I mean, I bought this handle back in the day. This 3D printed thing is collapsing now. But the handle's doing okay, but this didn't quite survive. I probably had too much pressure on it. But it's threaded to actually put a larger cap on here. That's how theirs work. So I need to print a new one of these. But anyway, I went and met Kit, and I told him how much I love the stuff and I love the lamps. And then when I went to talk with Adam, we both started talking about the the lamp at the same time, how great it is. It's not an expensive. So I was going to try to buy the red grass one, and we went to in Essen. There's a place called the Red Dot Museum, and it's a design, like industrial design museum. Hey, look at that, went back together. It's an industrial design museum that is just amazing. I'd wanted to go forever, but the problem is it's always closed on Mondays, which is usually when we either when we get there, that's the day we have free, or when we're leaving, it's the day we have free. But I think that's right. And but we ended up going a few years back for the first time, and then we went again. I guess we went again because we went to another museum a few years back, and so they at that location, it's the Ruhr Museum, I think it was, but it's like a history of the region in Germany kind of thing, and they had like, because they have there was coal there. It was big time situation there. I do not have my stick that I'm looking for here while I'm talking, and so then we went back and actually saw the Red Dot Museum, and they had that lamp. They had the red grass one, and it looked nice, but it wasn't what I'd hoped, and so I thought about it still, but it turns out really the Game Envy one is very nice and not terribly expensive, like $80 or $90. I backed it. I backed the latest campaign with the look at that, it's kind of thick. I haven't opened these in a long time. But I did back a new wet palette, which I don't really need. I've backed the red grass palettes a couple times already, and then I got some other stuff from that, but I did back and got another lamp because I really like it a lot. I would like to try to put one in here and cantilever it over. The nice thing, so the red grass one has these two blades in like a fork, and you can rotate them, but you can't spread them apart. And it's designed to like not have any shadow, or reduce shadows. But the Game Envy one, it's called I should get the name to you. Lucent, maybe? Yeah, Lucent. It has its lights, in these wings. So there's lights here, here, and here on each side, and then you can control the temperature and the brightness with these controls. It's very light, but it's very strong, and I was just knocked out. And I think I didn't see it till after I had already ordered one, or maybe I backed it, but Vincent Venturella had shown one that he was impressed with it, and I was already like on board. But I think Adam has one as well, and they're just great. They really do a good job, and they're inexpensive, so, and really, like, I had zero shadows. It was just crazy. Well, not zero, but very, very reduced. I just saw a spider. We have not been in here, so the creatures are sort of here. Gaslands, yeah, goodness gracious. I was actually they were going to send me some stuff at one point in time. I did not bother them for it. I probably should. They probably would give it to me. We had meetings with them, saw some of their new stuff upcoming. That new Undaunted 2022 or 2202 or something looks great. I met David Thompson, which was awesome. We've talked online, but we'd never met him in real life. That was great. He was in the booth. We saw the new Everdell pinball machine, which is not it's a pinball machine, but it's not manufactured as that. It was originally a flash machine, which is one of my favorite and early one. I heard this in a podcast. It's copyrighted 1978, but it came out in 1979, and I think I played it probably after that. That was one that I used to play with my dad. It was interesting. I read a blog post about Castle Park, and that's the one we used to go to, the one in Redondo Beach, and And it was amazing. And we used to go to the Castle Park up here in the valley, and there was pinball there too, because that was where I saw like the mid to late 90s pinball machines. Saw like Gilligan's Island and Addams Family. That would have been with Nikki when we first met each other and stuff like that. And they took that Flash machine and re-themed it for Everdell, and it's really quite fun. They did a great job. I would have loved to play it more, but I couldn't, and I also wanted to get out of the way for others to try it out as well. What else did we see? Gosh, we played. I got to think of the games we played. We played. Nikki didn't teach it, but she taught another one. I'm still trying to remember what that was. But I played. Let's go to Japan with the SDJ people, and that was like the deluxe, humongous version, which I'm happy we didn't. So we filmed it for Game Night. It's coming up. I'm happy we didn't have that one, because as it was, the version we have is takes up the table very much, and this one was not quite as bad. I mean, not ours was not quite as bad. That one is very, very big. Nice wooden token. So I guess that stuff's available. Like, you can buy that one, because they did give it to the BGG library, and we ran into the designer. He tapped my shoulder when we were in line yesterday, and he's like, "Are you guys?" He's thinking we might be on the same flight, and he's like, "Are you?" Because he lives in the area, and he's I think he's in Pasadena or something like that, and he's like, "Are you going to Atlanta first?" I'm like, "Oh no," and he took Delta. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible." We were fortunate; it was just to Denver and then home, and we were home by 9:15, so it was crazy. So what I'm doing is, I'm just going to go over some of this white highlights I did. I feel they're too strong. Actually, let me change glasses so I can see things up close. Very close, as I can read, no problem. So yeah, you can go over it, like I did this little edge highlight, but I don't want it to be so strong. And I was basically using like a light gray, not a white, to do this, and it just came out a little too strong. We saw Thinker and Themer and chatted with them for a little bit. Last time we saw them was after, gosh, why were we flying? That had to have been last year, but we ran into them at LAX. That can't be right. It had to have been 2 years ago that we did that. Because we've pretty much, well, we might have flown something like that, Southwest to that on that one. We probably did. Because I don't think, last year we were not on American. As a matter of fact, I think everybody was on that same flight except us. But we arrived at about the same time. So anyway, we talked to them, and it was good to see them. Now I'm putting a little bit on this black wristband, but it should be okay. I just want to reduce its intensity a little bit. We met the guy that Gary Dwartsky that does the Slate the Spire. That was fun, and we'll probably try to do that on the show at some point. They were out of. He was like, "You guys got a copy, right?" I'm like, "No, we didn't," and they were already gone. There was a lot of good games. We looked at a bunch. There was, well, Mandalorian Adventure we really want to play. That was in the library, but we didn't have the time to do it. and we'll get a copy. You know, it's available. I wasn't sweating getting some of those games because that was actually buyable from Amazon and local stores already. I think we saw it at Common Ground. I think, could be wrong. We saw a lot of great stuff at Common Ground as usual. They really have a great selection of stuff. We have some good stores, and we haven't been to the new Geek and Sundry, which is not Geek and Sundry, Geeky Tees. I wish it was Geek and Sundry. That'd be a great name. In Burbank, they moved to a new location. We were there not too long before it closed, that spot, and moved to another one in the same area. We ran into Jake from, I think that's why we were there. We met Jake to exchange, I think to pick up the game, the Ascending Empires, when we did it on our live stream, because they'd done it before us. And then we actually met with Ruel to return it, so he could do something with it, I believe, because he works with those guys, and that was cool. And we ran into Ruel as well there, and we ran into James, which was awesome because James he moved about 2 months ago as well. So it was good seeing him. I wanted to hang out with him a little bit more, but we ended up not going to the BIPOC Lounge. We were not up in the second level. We were up in the second level a lot the first day, meeting with Asmodee and Czech Games Edition. Actually, we met with Asmodee three times up there, 4 times. Different publishers, different studios essentially of the Asmodee stuff. But that was great. Met with Adrian from GameGenic, and we keep talking about having him come on the show. One of these days, that'll maybe happen. It was great. It was really, it was sold out, and I could have swore when we were there in 2017, it was sold out and it was 60,000 people. I heard 75,000. It was crazy. So we had our meetings. That's probably too blue. We had our meetings on Thursday. Thursday. Had 2 meetings, then we had about a 20-minute break, and we went back into the hall, and it was completely packed, like Saturday level of craziness. And so we were shocked, and we weren't really ready for it, and but we had to go to other meetings. Then we came back. We had meetings in the hall too, so which is challenging. I do like the they have. So it was like something they added. They have these spaces above and on the ground floor that are just rooms that vendors use for themselves. They book it for themselves to just do just their events and things like that, and it's great. So, for example, they had, although I don't know if it's great in that regard, they had Jackie's Rock Hard game sold out before the opening at 10 because the other booth, where I guess is where they were selling it, sold it all. I talked to a guy named Mac who had bought it that morning. I'm like, wow, that's great. So you don't have to go in. And, well, again, I think it's great to not have those lines, first thing. I know that there's a lot of the rush to go purchase that stuff, and I know there was some things that went that way. But I don't know. I just don't like the idea, because last year they had real problems with Lorcana, and there were lines for Lorcana as well. I mean, they weren't as crazy as they were last year, but they actually had the queues in advance and ready, so they were able to deal with the first rush, because they're introducing new stuff at the show. So yeah, it was a little crazy. Still, we didn't get to spend as much time on Thursday anyway in there because we were pretty much busy till, I think we were busy till 6:30. We had a meeting that was actually not in the hall. It was in the event space, which is like C, D, and E or something like that. And so we went to that space to actually have that meeting. Hey, Christian. You're in Montreal. Awesome. Doing fun here. Having fun here. We have a dentist appointment today. It's always like whenever we have a stream, we have to have a dentist appointment. But today it's late, like 4 o'clock. But I'm not ready for that. I mean, it's fine. But Nikki and I kind of group them together, so we just go there at the same time. So we both have a cleaning today. But I really don't. I just want to stay home. I don't want to do anything. Although I do want to go see Deadpool. I know Scott was talking about it. I don't know if he went. Yeah, there were so many games. Spectacular from Chili Fox looked good. Chili Fox is, I'm not sure what the relationship is, but I mean, I know they have money invested in them at least. Matago, and we've done, I think the Bad Company was actually Aporta, which Aporta's one company, and then Chili Fox is another company, but Christian Osby is involved with Chili Fox. You know, maybe it's co-partner on the company or something like that. They did like Riverside a few years back, and there was one game actually Christian Osby wrote me last year to pick it up, and we never got it. Like, we went back to visit Matago and at Spiel, and they gave us a pile of stuff, and it still wasn't in there. It was a William Attia Christian Osby design, House of Cats, I think. And I still want to try it, but I'm not sure. I mean, I probably can get it. Most of that stuff is sort of available on online here in the States, because like we did, as I mentioned, Bad Company earlier, we did that on the show. It wasn't available in the United States for a while, and that's unfortunate. We don't really like to play a game and then not have people be able to get it for a while. We also played well, we almost played. So Dwight wanted to play Arcs. He and his son wanted to play Arcs. And they had tickets for the hall for the 10 a.m. And I was like, did you guys get to play it today? And he goes, we didn't get to go in there. I'm like, oh man, that would have been your chance. So then we were talking about playing with them. And of course it was checked out. And then Nikki and I went and played something else, or did something else. I know it was something, that might have been the night we were tired. That might have been Friday night. And so, but Dwight ended up getting to play with his son with other folks. They let them join in and they played. I didn't actually get to talk to him about what he thought of it. His son really wanted to play it. So we were kind of bummed out that we didn't do that, because that would have been fun. But Candace wants to do it with us on the show, so we'll get to do it sooner or later here. Hopefully sooner. And then, oof, that's too much. Man, the paint is really drying out fast. It's pretty hot here. It was hot in Dallas, and it was hot and humid, kind of. It was warm in Indianapolis. Setup day was kind of rough. We weren't setting up, but we were in there while they were doing stuff. The team got all the games, a lot of games. We only brought like a few games because why were we busy on Wednesday? Something was going on, and then we had dinner plans that were kind of early, which is fine. And then we went to the punch party and hung out for a while. That looks pretty good. I have to do his sword too. Yeah, we had to stop in Denver. We were there for 1/2 of an hour. The funny thing was Nikki didn't remember us doing that last year. I'm like, don't you remember? We ended up having breakfast. We sat with there were birds flying around up at the top of there's like in Terminal C, there's like a big circle and upper level, and we and she remembered when we were in there, like the interesting setup that they have around there in that circle. But yeah, she didn't remember it at all. But of course, it was early, and I don't blame her. She's probably tired. Yeah, we might try to go see Deadpool and Wolverine tonight. Scott wanted to see it while we were in Dallas, but we didn't do it. We didn't have time. Although we could have made time, but we didn't. And I was eager to do it. I would like to go. We were talking to some people from Common Ground. They were heading over to go see the movie. And they don't like the IMAX one. And that's usually what we go see here in LA, often at the Chinese. But I've never gone to one of the Dolby theaters. And I would have liked to have done that to see what that was like. We do like the large screen. That was what our friends were saying, that they weren't really a fan of the big screen. Too big, right? Which I understand, but we actually don't go to the Chinese very much anymore because they don't show the film in Chinese. I don't want to see it in Chinese. They don't have it in 3D. And that's often, we like to see that. I mean, it's not the greatest, because they don't, here's the thing. I used to be this big snob about 3D movies, and I wanted them to be shot in 3D. And then I saw, with Rusty, went to go see the early screenings of Force Awakens, and it was in 3D, and it was really well done. And it's a conversion. And so I got kind of on board with that stuff. We didn't see Doctor Strange initially in 3D at the theater, but I had just purchased a 3D TV, and that was like one of the first discs I bought. And it was awesome. It really looks great. So we ended up going, they had a 10th anniversary or whatever so that was 2018, I guess. And they, so we went to go see Thor, Ragnarok. Actually, that's not right. We went to go see specifically Doctor Strange because we did not see it in 3D, and we saw that the next one playing was Thor Ragnarok, so we went out, paid for that one, and watched that. And it was great. So, My ears itch. I've had so much earbuds in my ears. USA in the women's football final. Interesting. I am a fan of Dune, Christian. I actually was very excited to try out. So that was one that Dwight wanted to play. He wanted to play the Dune War for Arrakis, which he is a huge fan of. But we didn't. I don't know that we had it in the library or somebody had it checked out. And we would have seen Dune in the theater. We did not see it in the theater because it wasn't in 3D. Not that that was the only reason. It was just one of the reasons why. We still haven't watched it yet. We want to. But like, I was disappointed because the disc didn't come out. I bought it in 3D after the movie came out and everything. So I'm sad they didn't do that. But I get it. It's a pain in the rear end. They didn't do the Spider-Man. They didn't do the Spider-Man, the most recent one, animated one, and they had done it, the original one, in 3D. But they said the animation didn't allow it, to work well because they had some different frame rates and stuff going on. So it's a bummer, especially because on the animation they often don't. That's made in 3D, so. Got my head in the way here, sorry. So I'm trying to do a little bit of blue. They have like a lot of kind of OSL blue on their stuff. This is not the color, but it's just I'm doing a little bit of it to do it. Played a bunch of John Wick and pinball, which is pretty neato, but goodness, I was trying to go for what they call contracts. They've got something going on right now for Deadpool, similarly. Deadpool and Wolverine. And, wow, I cannot get that to reduce. And I just couldn't do it. I played it once a day or two before, and then I was trying to get that one, and I just couldn't make the shots. It was really a bummer. But I would like to play that one more. It was great. The pinball arcade was very, very well done at Gen Con. I didn't play last year, but we went and looked at everything last year, and it was pretty neat. This time I talked with the guy that does it, who has the company that called Sandbox. That was pretty great. But as I said, I was telling him that the bond didn't work, was signed out, and but he was telling me about what they're doing, which is pretty. There's some really great things going on there. What else do we have? What game were you just? Oh, you know what I really wanted to get, Joe King, was, and I didn't get it. They had a new, this won't be hard to figure out what it is. They had a new thing, new box for Marvel United that adds Agatha Harkness. And then I already have like the cards of some of these, but I did not have, but they're giving you minis that are colored in the, cast in the color that, so they have Gray Hulk, and so he's gray plastic. Agatha is a anti-hero or whatever, so she's purple. Sinestro, is that one of the ones? I don't remember, but I really want to get it. But it's coming out. You're going to be able to order it later. I'm not exactly sure what that is, so I will just get it then. But I was, I wanted it. I kind of thought about trying to go over there, but they had zero. They really didn't have a lot of the stuff going on. They did, like I said, I picked up Comic Hunters for Scott, and that was the only thing I really saw, other than like one other game. And they had no miniatures on display. which was awesome last year. Because, you know, they just finished DC United, or DC Superheroes United. And, of course, I crazily backed all of it. But, yeah, I would have liked to have gotten that. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm getting, like I said, I got that Thunder Road for Scott, which, you know, made me happy because he wanted it, and we just, he missed out on doing the Kickstarter that they did that had the Carnival of Chaos, whatever their new, you coming in here, Nikki? The Carnival of Chaos that I would love to try as well. After playing, you know, after playing the game, we were just smitten with it. But yeah, most of the games we bought Escape from New York for Scott. He missed the Kickstarter on that one too. And that's a Kevin Wilson game, you know. We love Kevin Wilson stuff. And so I got him all of that. They were down to the last few. Slay Aspire, again, we didn't get to do that. We still haven't played it. We watched, Nikki and I watched Scott and some others play it at BGG Spring. And we really would like to do it. So when we get a copy, we can try to do that one, hopefully. What else? Again, I was eager to get Mandalorian Adventures, but when I saw that it was buyable, I was like, I won't worry about it right now. And there's plenty of great stuff. I want to try Gnome Hollow. We were really happy to try Landmarks. We had received it just literally days before we left and couldn't try it out. And then what else did we do there? There were really a lot of games, though. Goodness gracious. But most of the stuff sold out. Oh, we were happy to see... Now, I don't know that anybody remembers, but we did Dodo on our live stream. Gosh, like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago with the Brothers Murph. And it's a kid's game with a pretty heavy gimmick, but it's awesome. And they had that in stock, and I was watching people play that at the BGG library. I was very happy to see that. Because I think it's great, and I was knocked out when we saw it at Spielwarenmesse Messe in Nuremberg in 2020, and then it came out. I can't even remember how we got it. I think we maybe had somebody send it to us. I don't remember. Which is too bad, you know. I mean, it takes the delay on all that stuff is sometimes hard on a game, I think. But it was funny to watch people play it because it's like it's so interesting. Oh yeah, I was watching when we first went down to meet the STJ folks. They were finishing up a game, and I watched a family playing Dodo, and I was watching them warm up the egg. It's a dinosaur, you know, it's a dodo egg. And I thought it was pretty funny. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea, but I think they felt it was moving too slow for them, but it's really neat. But we just knew that we actually like headed out and from LA, and we didn't have a ton of luggage in our luggage, which was great. But we ended up having stuff there and things returning. We also, the jury is very nice and gives us, they ask us what candy we want from Germany or Austria, and we are excited to get some, and then it just becomes too much. But Tashi loves it, Deborah loves it, so we get it and we'll let them have it. We're going to try to film some more stuff with Tashi and Brian. We love the stuff too, but we should not eat that all the time. Trying a different thing on this blade. Let's see how it goes. Blade's blade. The funny thing is I really don't need any more Marvel United. But I do want to try to get it. I will buy it. Last year they had the Spider-Geddon, and they were nice enough to let me buy it. Somebody in the booth recognized us and were like, you can take, I talked to the booth manager and you guys can buy one. I'm like, okay, that's great, thank you. It's fine, you know, I don't mind standing in line. We stood in line for other stuff. We always do, and everybody's like, why are you standing there? I'm like, well, we're fans too, we want to buy it. It was good though. We talked with the jury about so two folks are from the, well actually they're going to be involved in the whole jury thing now. They're from the children's jury. And then, but they'll be, somehow they're doing some sort of a, other folks from the children's jury will be involved with the standard jury as well, which is cool. But we talked about them, about that stuff, and mostly I talked to them about the recommendeds, because that's where the most surprises. There's one we wanted to play at, well, Nikki wanted to play Botany, which is not one of the recommendeds, but there was another one called Botanicus from Hans im Gluck, and they didn't. That wasn't there. We're gonna have to see that at Spiel, I think. But yeah, Nikki was kind of wanting to check out that Botanicus, but they did not have that. Oh, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge there. But I think the first one's the better one. I also need to let it dry, because it starts to gel, and then you can't. You can fix it, but it's not great. Hey, Ian, how you doing? We do have. Oh, you know another game I really wanted to get, which we didn't go talk to them about or anything, is Intarsia, which is the new one from Michael Kiesling and Deep Print Games. Deep Print Games is the folks that were Eggert Spiele. They sold Eggert Spiele to Z-Man, Play to Z, or no. Play to Z is the new one. That's Zev's new game, new company. She was called Philosophia, but so she had Plan B games and Next Move. I think Next Move still exists, but I think Plan B is done as well. But they closed. They've dissolved the Eggert Spiele brand at Asmodee. So a lot of those games like Great Western Trail are now from Lookout Games, which is probably a good matchup. But Deep Print is a newish company. They've been going for a couple of years now. They have a new game that is a floor game. I think it's wood though. Michael Kiesling did Azul, which is tiles, right? Flooring. And so this is a new one that's pretty interesting. I'd actually heard of Intarsia before, so that was kind of exciting to hear. We met with Anton Torres from Pegasus, and so hopefully that we'll be able to see that one before too long. They had a lot of copies, and we really should have tried to get one, but he was busy on just talking with somebody, and I did not want to interrupt, and so we had stuff we needed to do. So, wow, that paint has dried up. But it was great. Looks good. They have another one called, one that we wanted. It's actually Anton. I'd never heard anything about this one. What is it called? Bomb something or other. That's your bomb diffusion team, and there's wiring that you're, I guess, cutting the red wire is bad news all the time or something like that. I don't know. It can't be, because there's, but it's got 66 levels, and I really want to check it out. We just haven't. We didn't have a chance to check it out. We do have it in the BG library, so we'll see it then. Also, Everdell Duo. Duel. We saw that, but we didn't get to check it out. What was the other game? They really wanted us to come by. We did meet with River Valley Glassworks. Matt Riddle and Ben Pinchbeck, and another designer. That looks really nice. They did give us a copy of that, so we'll check it out here one of these days. We did get a new copy. So we had played it on the stream. We did get a new copy of Cafe Barras. We played a pre-production copy that actually kind of had somebody in the audience realize we had some rule not wrong, but it was different. So that is important. We want to check that one out. We actually were trying to do it a few weeks back, and we didn't get to on the show. We were going to film it specifically that day, and then Nikki saw that problem and was like, "Hey, So we'll try that out later again. Oh, that's one of the games Nikki taught. She taught Cafe Barras because we had already played it at the Hot Games room. Man, that deluxe version of Let's Go to Japan is very nice. Really, really nice. But a lot of people got stuck. I think Candace didn't get home till pretty late. Like they had lots of delays. So we really got lucky that we were able to get out the door as early as we did. Let's see, what do we got here? 11:54. I still got some time. But yeah, we gotta go to that dental, get some lunch and go to the dentist appointment. We actually wanted to go grocery shopping this morning, but I told Nikki, I'm like, remember, we got to go to that dentist appointment. Wow, this is so great. The way this peels now, I don't really want to peel this, but it's, you can get the dried off paint very simply. It's really great. I love using these things. Adam was telling me about them. I'm like, yeah, I know. You told me last year and I immediately bought one. There are other choices, and Adam has something coming. Some merch, so that's kind of exciting. Okay. Yeah, the blades are okay. I'm not real happy. They feel a little too busy. I might work on that later. It is kind of busy on the thing, though. Maybe they just need a little bit more precision. Precision. I am using a very small brush, though, which is not always the best. I just can't believe we're going to be going to Germany so soon. It's very, very, it's early again this year, but then next year it's going to be quite a bit later. So that's going to be a challenge as well, because, you know, we come back from that and we go to BGG Con. And I don't know if BGG Con is early this year or next year. I don't know the exact dates. I mean, I do generally know when it is, but it's a very narrow gap between that, and we've had that many times, between Spiel and BGG Con. So we have to get like all the games that we pick up there in a hurry, and that's just terrifying. Because if you don't have them for the con, we bring some, like people bring some of the stuff in their luggage, so we could have a few things, but not having most everything is real scary. I'm really having a hard time here. But we're looking forward to it. It should be fun. Already making plans of meetings and stuff like that, which is funny. I did order, I don't know, there was like a short time I ordered, Jackie has, you can get the shirts for Rock Hard. And I thought she said something like 18 people could get it. I'm like, what? But anyway, I put an order in last night, which was good. Very happy to support her and get one. They had, I don't know if they were exactly the same, but they had some at the convention. Jackie had one. And I was like, of course I want one of those. Come on, I'm a t-shirt guy. A little brightness helps. Well, maybe we'll do a wash. Couldn't hurt to have a little blue on there, maybe. More. Cool. But yeah, there were a lot of releases. What else did Scott actually? He wanted us to get. Well, I mentioned Spectacular, or Spectacular. We didn't. I looked at stuff when I was in Dallas a little bit, but not as much as I would have liked. I usually spend more time looking at the upcoming games than I did, and I just couldn't. I couldn't. It was tough. I mean, because I want to know what's coming out. I want to try to get them, but I'm afraid to just get them because we just have to get them back home. Okay. Wow. Is this from yesterday? No, this is from today. I'm sorry. Looking at something I shouldn't worry about, but I think it is due today. Darn it. Oh well. I think we have a different plan. Darn it. Okay, well. Shouldn't read that stuff while I'm doing this stuff. How does Luke's? That reduced its intensity pretty well. How'd I do on this one? Pretty good. We had friends that were asking about Deborah and Daredevil and did not know that she's going to be back on it. I don't know when that show's coming out, probably next year on Disney Plus. But she's back on, and I saw that she has, I saw it on her Instagram post, an interview, like a podcast with John Bernthal, which looked pretty interesting. I do need to go check that out. Huh. Did I paint one of these already? I don't feel like I did, but sure. I did not. This must be one I didn't paint for myself. That doesn't seem right. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I feel like there's 10 in that set. I'm looking at the Marvel Spider-Geddon, Marvel United Spider-Geddon. I don't know, man. This is all confusing. I really need to organize this stuff better and put stuff back in the box. I was looking at this one. I had taken a picture of it, and it looks better now. But this is the kind of thing that I want to use some of the fluorescence for, is to brighten. I just used, like I purchased this color. Look at that, it's in the lid, how silly. Wild Rider Red, which is really an orange in my opinion, but but I used that on the edges and it worked pretty great. But what I want to do is use some of the fluorescent colors and then bring it back with some of the other colors. And I'm eager to try that out. I will not fiddle with this one since this one has been varnished already. But it is exciting. Which sculpt? Oh, this one here, Joe King? Yeah, obviously it's some sort of Venom or Carnage. I don't know. Let me see if I can figure it out. I would like to play some of these. I never played any of the, that is Carnage. That's interesting. In the picture, it's mostly black. Yeah, Carnage with the tendrils. That is what it is. It's like he's coming. I guess they're spiraling out of these things. It's kind of interesting. The downer is, so this was first wave, I think. It is absolutely first wave. So they don't show the whole mini, which is, nice to see the backside. Although it's not going to be hard to figure it out. The nice thing is I kind of waited on this one long enough that the red, I've got a really good red now. A couple really good reds. Literally the one that I use the most is this one here, ball red. And that may be what I'll use on this. So yeah, this is one of mine that I didn't paint yet. I don't think that's from, I think it's the regular one. Rock Hard is coming soon. It was available at the con. They had limited amounts, so my suspicion is it's not really out yet, but it's coming from DeVere very soon. We will try to play that on our show. We really wanted to film it when we filmed with Rusty and Deborah a few weeks back, and we were hoping to do it then, and we just could not. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to go for it with the red here. I should have been painting this today. I didn't even notice him over there. Oh, there's another one too. This is probably from the Spider-Man one. Let me look. I must have sorted these out recently, trying to figure out what I have left to do. But yeah, Rock Hard really looks good. It had a lot of success. It sold out every day. The other one that really did well was, we haven't played it on we did put a video out, but we have it on Game Night coming up. But the new, boy, this is, every time I get into this thing, it's so annoying to me. I'm totally zoned it. Anyway, yeah, so we were going to film, we ended up doing one that Deborah wanted to teach, which was very exciting, and then another game that Rusty, actually, I can't remember if he taught us at BGG Con, but we were happy to try it out. Wow, what is this? What is that mini? This has got to be another Venom. I don't remember which one. There was a lot of good stuff. There was actually some other good stuff from DeVere. As I said, DeVere had their own room, which was awesome. Oh, you know what? Carnage. Maybe that's what it is. I've already done Carnage, haven't I? Oh no, that's the one we were just talking about. I wonder if I can tab through these images. Gosh, it's such a mess. I don't quite understand the alphabet. It's like something I did when I saved these does not have them in the right order. Like, they should be alphabetical. This is cool. It lets me tab through. I have everything saved to like a Google Drive. Really helps. Gosh, they look great. And now I'm looking at them. I painted some of these 2 years ago, and I want to go back and work on them a little bit more. The DC United was interesting. I was contemplating not going all in, but they ended up adding like Arkham near the end, and the Green Hornet, the multicolored, you know, and I don't know Green Hornet. That was my challenge with that one. I don't know DC stuff as well. It's funny because I used to read DC more than I ever read Marvel. But the DC I was reading was, you know, graphic novels. I was not into comics when I was young. I was into sci-fi books, but not comics. Wow. Man, I'm looking at these and I kind of want to do some more on them. It's great. I think he's doing something in the garage. Here next door. So there was a book that they were offering in the campaign. It was like how to paint in the Big Child Creative style, which is actually pretty exciting. I did back it. Not that so, you know, I've been really kind of pushing to doing them in the manner that I've been doing them because I feel this is the quickest way. You know, I did 2 of these in about an hour and a half. You know, me chatting and stuff, maybe a little over 2 hours. But they'd go much quicker if I wasn't doing that. And now that's me painting them after they've been primed. And hey, Nikki, what's going on? Melting?
I started doing yard work like a dork.
Ah, okay.
And then I kept going, oh, a little bit more, a little bit more.
Yeah, it's getting hot. So yeah, I prime these, you know, with all black, then gray, and you can see here I didn't do a great job at covering it all. It's hard to see it, but it won't matter because it's going to be underneath, and you won't see, it'll be hidden. I feel that when you do this, it already has shading. It's pretty exciting looking already just in black and white, and then when you then put the coloring on it. Now, you know, I have some issues, like I painted both of these at different times, so they don't look identical, but they're close. Oops, I'm sorry, my head's in the way and it's off frame. But they're close, and that's all I really want to do. I mean, I have that experiment that I'm doing where we're doing things to them to see how they come out. Like this one is a smoother, well, her face is kind of scary though. I still haven't gotten over that. I did like a eyeliner thing, which I'm not 100% certain I like. But anyway, so one of them was a little grainier, and I painted them at much different times. So the goal is from now on, I will prime them at the same time. So, but that doesn't take terribly long. It takes me like 20, 25 minutes to paint 10 miniatures, maybe, prime them. And then painting them this way. And so you get them done really quickly. But you know, doing the nice paint job, I'll pull out the one I always pull out because it's sitting right here. I should dig up some of the other ones. But this is done with a more traditional style of painting. I did not do zenithal. I don't know if I was doing zenithal at that time, but you use zenithal to influence your shading. But with the contrast paints or the speed paints, you just paint over them and you get that shading. Some paints are not as good. I generally tend to thin them down with the medium, so I use technical the contrast medium from Citadel with the contrast paints, and I use the speed paint medium with the Army Painter speed paints. And I think you can get some great results. This one took me a long time. Now, the detail's kind of a little crazy. I'm not a great painter, but I'm pretty good. And so you know, this is kind of like a showpiece, so I spent a little bit more time on it. But I feel you get some fantastic results here with, you know, much quicker, much quicker. This one, because he has so much dark, you don't really see the shading as much on him. You know, the red shows some of it, like it's darker underneath his arms and stuff like that. But this was very quick, and I actually used the new Speed Paint Metallics. Games Workshop does not do metallics, but they are doing them. I think I used like this one. Speed Paint does them, and they actually kind of work, you know, with the different intensity. So I was talking to Adam, he was like, yeah, if you do them on a dark undercoat or light, you get much light undercoat, you get much different results, which makes complete sense, right? That's what a speed paint's supposed to do. So it looks a little more silver. Do I have the other one still here? They both look great. This was done early, and they really look similar. It's not really that big of a deal at all. But the end result, I think this one went faster. Now I kind of like, I probably wash this more or something like that. But they're really great. They look fantastic. Both of them, you know, and you get really quick results. I did both of these. He's a little blue. I was just, as I was looking through those images. Thanks, Calamari. Oh, thanks, Joe King. Yeah, I like painting 40K stuff. I just, so, you know, you compare the size, right? This is a big, now this isn't like a Terminator. Terminators have changed size in recent times. But you can see how big the Marvel United ones are. And I feel like these are, if you're getting into minis, this is the great thing to get started with. It's very doable size-wise. And if you do the speed paints, you know, the contrast paints with the zenithal highlight, contrast or speed paints, you get really great results very quickly. And they will look really good on the table. So I don't know. It's worth giving it a shot. It was exciting, actually, to talk to people about it, that people were saying that they were following my lead and doing some of this. It's expensive, you know. I did do this one here. If you go the route I do, where I use an airbrush, you know, I have like a I have this one here from Gallery. The Amazon has sales on these all the time. They're very nice. They have parts that I actually had a problem with this one. Do I have two of these? No, I think I had a problem with the needle on this one. Somehow it got bent, like in packaging. And they sent me, I was able to straighten it out mostly, but it was still a problem. And they sent me a new needle, and it's packaged for retail. And I love that they have the parts. I mean, that's one of the reasons why it's good to buy Badger or Iwata or Harder and Steenbeck. Harder and Steenbeck has lots of parts. And the great thing about a lot of theirs is they are compatible between levels. This is the basic one. I mean, this is the Squidmar one, but I just was like, oh, I like his stuff, I'll support him. I would not buy the black one again. But like the needle, not the needle, but the nozzle is the same throughout all of, like through many of them all the way up to the infinity. So to me, having that accessible and available all over the place, you want to have parts that you can buy. So it is expensive. You can now this was like $110, but these ones from I just put that on there. I didn't put the cap on. But these galleries can be had for as little as $60. Now you need to have actually cheaper than that. They have an even lower cost one. This is like one of their higher end ones. And I think I paid $80 or something, $89, and there was a sale, and they were selling this for like $60 or something. They have this, the higher end one has this polished cup, which I will tell you has made me very happy because it is way easier to clean these cups. There's not as much tooth. You know, they polish them up, but they don't do a crazy amount. Let me see. Well, we can look at this one. I mean, this is pretty polished too, but it's not as smooth. And I've used this only a couple times. But this one is actually easier to clean, for me anyway. But you can get something like that, and then I showed before, I don't love the airbrush. It's definitely doable, and it's a good way to just get started. But I bought this compressor, battery operated compressor. I had been seeing these, and then I saw on an older Ninjon episode from like a year and a half ago. Hey, thanks for the follow, Emo D. Thank you so much. He said how much he liked the compressor. the airbrush is okay. I don't have it out. It'll do the job, especially for priming. But this was $60 on sale with the airbrush. And it's a little compressor that you just recharge. And I think it's fantastic. I've used it many times now, particularly if I want to prime outdoors, because it's really good to spray outdoors. I have in gold demon levels. Yes, of course, calamari. I do have a spray booth behind me that I use sometimes when I'm in here, particularly when it's hot or cold. But I generally like to spray outside. I like the amount of light you get. It's sometimes too much, though. I've noticed that I make more mistakes. Heck, I might have painted this outside. I make more mistakes like this outside. But again, it's not a problem. You're not going to see that. You will paint that dark and you'll never notice the difference. But this one I did this one and an Iron Man, which I don't know where it's at, where I dry brushed them. Instead of doing the airbrush to get the shading, the zenithal, I dry brushed it in that manner. Now this one, I have worked on her face again, so it's not to my total liking, because I dry brush it and she looked just too sandpapery, you know, kind of. So I wanted to work on her face because I thought that didn't quite work. But it's totally doable as well. And I think the zenithal, the dry brush zenithal, works out pretty great as well. And this doesn't require you to invest $100 or $70 in an airbrush and a compressor. But just if you go for that kind of method, so you know, here's one I did. I think this is the first one I did, where I went in and then I drew some highlights on her hair, and then put the color over it, you know. It looks kind of neat. They both look really good. And I hope this one will look, her face will look about as good as, I'm not sure about her expression here on this one, but it's cool. You know, I actually got another set of the Marvel United. These were $10 or $15 at the time for 10 minis. I got a second one because I wanted to do airbrushing, dry brushing on the whole thing. I've only done 2 of them so far, but I'm really very happy with the end results. And I feel, you know, you can get there without having to spend too much. Healthier to spray in the open tube, for sure. I do wear a mask in here, Joe, and I also have the spray booth which pulls the paint out. I have a vent that goes out the window, and that works perfectly fine. But dry brushing's great too. And if you can airbrush, so I have a very small Iwata compressor that my mom has bought me so much wonderful stuff over the years. But she bought me that compressor, goodness, maybe 15 years ago now. And I just take that outside and spray outside, sit down. I have like a little step ladder kind of a thing that I use as a pedestal in front of me to paint on, and I sit on a library stool and then airbrush the stuff sitting outside. And I do that in the shade. So I'm not in the direct sunlight. I have done some, like I said, with this in the direct sunlight where I was feeling I needed to see it more, but it's very bright out. So you have to like, and I was doing it in the brightest day possible here in Southern California, but it's really nice to airbrush outside if you're able to. If not, definitely get a mask and vent it out the window. My mom actually bought me this spray booth back here. I think that was like $130 at the time. I think she got that for me in 2019, and it's great. Like I use it all the time, and there's no particulate. See, I've airbrushed on camera a couple times, and I really don't want to because I don't want the particulates to get on the camera equipment. But you can do that, and if I had the spray booth here, you can really do it. You can even set it up to where you don't have a port outside. You just have it go through filters. There's a guy, Barbados Rex, and he has a booth in his basement, and he has it set up that way. You should check out his videos. He does Gundam and cars, but he really pays attention to airbrushes. As a matter of fact, there is a gallery airbrush that he did that was a signature model that has a trigger, so you hold it and you would pull the trigger here, it's curved, that will do the paint. I don't have any airbrushes like that. I would love to try one sometime, but I keep telling myself, so I was at the Badger booth at Gen Con and I'm like, I don't need anything, and I just walked. I talked to them, but I didn't buy anything. I told them I would come by and get some stuff, but I really bought a bunch of stuff last year. I bought some needles and stuff for my one of my favorite airbrushes is the Badger Sotar 2020. Fantastic airbrush. Brighter does look better for these, I agree. So that's my new thing, is I basically spend a little bit more time. I accentuate the face because I think the face is important. This one's still a little dark, but he's going to be, let's see, do I have the other one here? Because this is the second one I'll be painting of this. But yeah, I'm spending a little bit more time priming them. Here's the real story, is usually I'm in a big rush because I'm trying to do them before I paint. And the goal has been not to do that, before I paint on the stream. It's number one, it's good to let them dry a little bit longer, even though I don't really have problems here in Southern California with the humidity and the dry time. I feel it mostly is dry. It's pretty dry before I even, put the next coat on. But it is good to let it go a little bit longer for it to set. So that's important. It's challenging. This was one I tried to do the zenithal prime with metallics, and it's okay. The challenge was, of course, Penny got a little bit metallic on her. I need to do some stuff back there on the spine, but I like it. It looks cool. You know what I mean? It turned out nice. The Iron Man, I think this is the other one I tried to dry brush to do zenithal. It ends up, it's not quite as easy to do. Probably, and I did do it with an airbrush. Maybe I did dry brush one. He's not here, and he looks the best of all of the three that I've done. Although I think this one's amazing looking. But yeah, you can spend a lot of time on making them really pop. But I feel you don't like he looks great. You don't need to worry about it. I'm not quite done with him, but he turned out really nice. And this was a very simple project, You can put extra levels of detail in. I ended up painting the star on his chest a little bit with different shading. And you can do that if you want to polish him up a little bit. I was very happy with the Wasp. She turned out great. I put a little bit of effort into the wings. And the Captain Marvel, she turned out real neat. I'm not completely sold on her mouth. But it turned out neat. They're not hard to do. They don't take a tremendous amount of time, and you can really get great results. And I mean, here's what they look like normally, right? These are fine, but wouldn't it be fun to have all your miniatures painted to play? Now, one of the things that works against you is you do use the villain, or is going to be either purple or red. If I paint him, you do have to pay attention a little bit more, because they're just movers in Marvel United. You don't need to have anything too crazy, because it's just a pawn. But I really like doing them. They're fun. I will be doing all the DC United. I need to get through. I've only done 10, I think, maybe a few more of the. I also did the Spider-Geddon one. So I've done sort of the X-Men. Does that count as part of that X-Men wave? I think it was. It wasn't the multiverse, I don't think. Although, did they? Maybe it was. Actually, I think it was multiverse. I can't remember. But yeah, I have many, many more of the X-Men to paint, so I've barely done any of them. I did all the main box in the hopes that we would play it, and we didn't. But yeah, they're awesome. And painting smaller figures is totally fine. You can do really well. I just feel, this is a big bird from Warhammer Underworlds, one of the, because I painted these guys. They were part of that set, one of the little war bands. And these are big, they scale these larger. I mean, compare it to this, which is tall but skinny. Is another Warhammer Underworlds figure. But they turn out, this was literally my very first painted speed paints. I bought the speed paints at, I believe, at both Common Ground and Madness in Dallas. And then I was trying to get Scott into it. And I painted almost all of him there in an hour or two. And I'd never painted. Now, this was done differently. It was painted entirely white. And I did it as the method that they recommend. And it looks great. But I like the zenithal highlighting for these larger shapes, these volumes. Because, see, I didn't paint any of this shading. I did do a little bit of a bright yellow edge there on his pecs. But, the shading is from the zenithal. And it looks great. It really looks great on the table. And so this one's not quite as dramatic as that one. I think, again, I painted these at different times. I kind of like this one. It's a little bit more speckled. And I'm usually a bigger fan of the smoother gradation. But they both look good. And, if you do them the standard Games Workshop method, they look great. But this one, this has got metallic, so you don't really see the zenithal. But like the cape is that way. I didn't actually paint any of the gray underneath. I just hand painted the details there, and they look pretty good. But yeah, like these are the ones I painted. Hey, Daniel K. That tree guy does have my hair. It's not blue though. I don't paint my hair blue. Nikki, everybody keeps trying to get me to dye my hair. I'm not a fan of it. I did when I was young, a couple times, but I don't like dealing with it growing out. But yeah, this is one of the earliest Warhammer figures I painted. I did these 22 years ago, maybe. And he's fine. I didn't, but it's not that hard. I had some experience painting minifigures when I was a kid. My parents bought me some Revell kits. But this is basic. I had no idea about shading or anything like that. But it's small, right? So it's a little less inviting to get started. But that's why I really love these. I feel you can, you're invited to paint the eyes. Let's see, how did her, yeah, see, her eyes look pretty cool. Again, I did the shading on her, the eyeliner on her. The Jennifer Jones is just Jessica Jones. Jennifer Jones is the actress. It's very intense, but I'm not going to sweat it. They look good. They'll look good on the table. That's the other thing. Got to let go. Don't go too crazy. I was very happy with this one though. I painted her eyes on top of the. She's a little bit kind of boss-eyed there, but still turned out cool. Anyway, I think I better go. No, it's only just after 12:30. Let me see here. I do have some work to do though. That was kind of a disappointment. Gosh, what is this? I'm seeing all kinds of notifications. Okay. Well, I actually want to try to paint some of this red. Let me just do it for a little bit. The good thing is that I can paint all his webbing black. I never figured out. Oh, crud. I went back and it took me out. I want to figure out what this figure is. I'll find it. It could be, obviously it's some sort of Venom. I'm just going to paint a little bit of his chest, because there's enough dividing lines with the dark stuff that it won't be hard. So let's get back. I need to figure out why these are not alphabetized. Because the dates are all different, so I don't think it's that. They're in reverse order, but they don't completely. Work with that. Okay, so I'm going to use my favorite red from Marvel. I mean from Marvel. From contrast red from Citadel. Ball red. It's very good. A little bit more shaking. Now this is a single pigment paint, so it's, I believe, so it's not as hard to mix if you want to mix it or anything like that. Although I have mixed plenty, so in the first range of colors, there were only 30 some colors, I think, 36 maybe. And I didn't even buy them all. I ended up mixing a lot of the colors that to try to get stuff that I wanted. But I will, since these easily spill, it's the one thing that Adam was saying is his big defining difference between speed paints and contrast paints is these spill so easily if you're not careful. That's what's great about the paints from Army Painter. They use the dropper bottles like Vallejo and stuff. So usually, I usually will thin the color, but I think I'm going to go for it here. We'll see. I'm not really thinning the color, but I will use contrast medium to reduce the intensity of the color. But I kind of like the reds. We'll see how this goes here, because the webbing seems kind of iffy on some of this. And it looks super bright when you put it on, but its intensity drops down a little bit. So usually I work inside out, and that's what I'm doing here. But I'm going to have to be a little bit more cautious. But if I put the black on, it will make it so that the red, I have to put gray back over it or white to try to bring the brightness up. So this is why I'm working inside out in this case. Usually I'll do the face first. Nikki and I will be streaming on Thursday for game night, so there will be probably, I don't know, Christoph might be here. I mean, he comes in that day, but I don't know that we're going to have him over. But we'll definitely play something, hopefully anyway, something new from Gen Con. Yeah, I played Venom as well on the pinball machine, but it was not an R1 either. I just wanted to play. It was so one of the badges you needed to get was score 100 million points on one game. And the discussion was, would I be more likely to get that in a single play on Venom or Star Wars? And I played Venom with some tips and did pretty good, but I did not get 100 million points. So I played Star Wars, and easily, I think I got like 600 million points. Because that one is multiplier crazy if you hit the targets. I did play that one twice though, to get I think I got 997 million. Man, my phone is buzzing. I did 97 million on the first game and 500 or 600 million on the other. I'm not sure what's happening with CMON. I know there were some layoffs. My gosh, hold on, I'm sorry. Don't know if it's for me or not. Gosh, it's a bunch of conversation. I'll have to look at it later. I guess it doesn't matter, but I'm trying to make sure that my lines stay clear. Wow, phone is blowing up. That looks pretty cool though. Helicopters flying around. I don't know what's going on. Goodness, I need a drink. I do have the AC going. Be right back. Okay. How many coats do I do? Well, I really just do, so there's essentially 3 coats in the priming because I prime it entirely in black. And then I prime it gray at a 45-degree angle all the way around. And then I prime it with white from above. And that's how I do all these. And then when I paint the miniatures, often it's 1 coat. So this red looks pretty good. So I'll probably go with it as that. I do see here some issues. But I generally will do 1 coat, and it does a pretty great job. Now, contrast paints and speed paints, I know contrast paints are pretty delicate. I imagine speed paints are as well. Then you need to varnish. And I often do a mix of ultra matte and matte. Is that right? Yeah, matte and ultra matte. Some people do satin, a little bit of satin in an ultra matte. Satin's a little too glossy for me, but the glossier the varnish is, generally the more durable it is, more protecting. But it's worth doing. And I'm satisfied with the results. They generally, I'll go back and touch up things and stuff like that, but generally I don't. I think I did do 2 coats on this shirt. I used a new color that I bought from Army Painter, Maize Yellow. But I thinned it down a little bit. So I reduced the intensity of it so that I would do a couple coats to build it up to the intensity I wanted. I think that it's sort of sometimes better to build up to it. I'm obviously not doing that on this one because I'm just going with it out of the pot. But it really is not a tremendous amount of effort, you know. You can go in and do things like use standard acrylics to do some bright highlights or darken things up. I mean, I have definitely used standard acrylics on a lot of this. The goal initially was I wanted people to try to use the speed paints to get satisfying results, to just get their miniatures on the table. But you can always work in a little bit more detail. I was earlier painting the glasses on Blade. I had already done some details on it, but I want to do some bright spots on the top edge, and it looks pretty good. And the sword's looking pretty good. It's a little too intense. I'll make a decision whether I want to fiddle with it some more. But yeah, I think you can do it. Ooh, wow, that's stuck to his. Some of these things are not attached. Some of them are. It's one of the things that is interesting about painting these. I have to spend a little bit more time trying to get the mold lines cleared off, and I'm only moderately successful. I just, for whatever reason, because these come pre-assembled, for the most part, I mean, there is, Fin Fang Foom is, you know, you put the wings on, but when I assemble the Mini, I do a better job of like cleaning the mold lines and the stuff like that off before I start painting. And I almost always see something after the fact that I really wished I had caught. It's usually on a head. I mean, you can see it here. There's a mold line here. I don't know. I'm particular. Others don't worry about that stuff so much, and they're probably living happier and healthier lives than me. I mean, you know, sweating the details. I like to do that. It's part of what I enjoy doing. So, but you know, these paints are mostly transparent. I mean, their color, but you see underneath what's going on. So that's why I really like the Zenithal. I can see why Games Workshop doesn't promote that, though, because number one, they don't sell our brushes, but number two, that's just another level. You know, they want to make it easy for people to get into the hobby. I really like this one. I mean, so Scott has his minis. He was, so as I was saying earlier, I was trying to get him into it. Once the pandemic was going, he ended up painting with me on streaming. So my first painting stream stuff was with him. And he just rattle canned, you know, used spray cans where he painted it black and then he painted white, and that was it. And they look good. When I was visiting one time, we were house sitting for a little bit, and I painted one of his. I probably should have asked, but I painted one of his Marvel United minis. It was gosh, what was her name? Nebula? And it was done the rattle can. It looked great. You don't have to go, there's lots of methods. The reason why I don't like rattle can is you absolutely need to paint outdoors. And it's pretty messy. So I either prefer to hand paint the whole mini. So I actually did that on, not only on the Iron Man and Black Widow, but I also on one of the Jurassic Park minis, one of the ones we unlocked when we played some of the campaign of that Jurassic Park Isla Nublar one. And I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to dry brush to see if, to show people how easy it was. Because what I was doing on that was between our live streams, we actually did 4 live streams or something like that. I painted the mini that we had unlocked so that when we played it the next time, we would play with the newly painted mini. And it turned out great. I actually picked the right one by sheer chance. It was I don't know the name of the dinosaur, but it was from Jurassic Park 3. And he's like in a cage. He's falling in the water. There's a cell phone. All these little details that were on there. Do I have that here? No, I don't. I know I don't. But it turned out great. And I'm like, okay, so this is a completely viable way to go. That looks pretty cool. I'm kind of eager to paint the black. I'll do that later. What time is it? It is, I got 10 more minutes. Well, I shouldn't paint that while it's still drying. But yeah, it's there's something weird there too. I think I need to paint a little bit of his torso, like it shifts because of the parts. So they do glue these together, and I've had them pop apart. Some of the things pop apart. Iron Man actually, is this the one? Yeah, so this one I had to pin it. I dropped him, and he just popped off. So yeah, this is while it's one of my, this is the reason why I actually don't love this one. While I think the miniature's great, this here, there's a lot of stuff going on because I had to super glue it and try to get it on there. And he's pretty good, he's solid, but he's not great. Yeah, see, this tendril is a little flexible. Now these are the first wave, and the the plastics are a little different from what they've changed to. Now I've painted stuff from the second wave. I believe the X-Men one was that, so I did 10 of those, and then I did the Spider-Geddon ones. But I will tell you, I think the new plastic is better, for sure. I'm happier with, like the mold lines and stuff like that. I was able to do a pretty good job. Now I haven't had enough experience with all of them to know, but I was able to clean stuff up and have them look pretty good. These, isn't it Ultimate Spider-Man? You can see a mold line underneath here. But that's not really very visible, but I'm sad I didn't catch it. See, both of them kind of have that. Maybe I caught this one and smoothed it out, but I didn't get that one very much smoothed out. But again, you're looking at it from above. It is really not a problem. See, I think Moreland had some issues. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's the cuffs that are not great. But his coat looks good, and there's a bit of a mold line here, which is a bummer. It's hard to see them, and you really see them when you prime it, unfortunately. I just don't love to overcoat too much. I don't want to lose too much detail. They're not as detailed as they're not as much detail as like these. Look how crazy much detail these have. But it's a different, harder plastic. And this is 15 years ago, 16 years ago. The newer stuff is even more impressive. I mean, this is more modern. This is from 5 years ago. And I don't know exactly, a lot of the minis, they will cycle them from other stuff, not recycle them, but use them from other sets. Sylvaneth, I think is what these are called. But you know, that's pretty great little detail. I mean, then you look at these guys. They look pretty good. And I really feel these guys are the ones to beat as far as getting... There's a little dot of something there. Wonder what happened there. So what I will do, I don't have any wet paints, but I can touch that up. I know you can't see it. It's minor league, but it's me, so I'll fix it. But you can match the gray. It's surprisingly simple to do. But I also don't go crazy. Like I might have gone in and touched up some of the striping here with some gray after the fact. I definitely did it on something. Let's see if one of these other ones is more visible. Maybe? Yeah, I did some stuff here. And you can do a good job. It's not that hard to do to get the color. And then these are just dusty, man. They've been sitting here. I need to put them away someplace. They don't have boxes like the Marvel United stuff. And I'm not even using the Marvel United stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's more. I'm really not done with these, but I'm done enough, probably. Did I put the bird back? I did not. But yeah, I really love this bird. So yeah, they do put them in different kits. And Marvel, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, some of these might have been, like especially the Stormcast Eternals might have been in the original, in another release of stuff, and then they were redone for a Marvel, God, I keep saying Marvel, for the Warhammer Underworld stuff. Like the Crimson Court is a set I want to paint. I couldn't find them easily, and of course now I can find them all over the place, but Sebastian ordered me a set, and I'll pick it up when I go see them in October. But I want to paint those. I'm trying not to buy minis. I say this having just spent another $500 something on the Marvel United, DC United stuff, but I really don't. I can't really buy more minis. I have too much stuff. I went to the booth, the Warhammer Games Workshop booth, and I briefly went through because I just recently, so I say I don't want to buy minis, but I just recently bought these because they just look great. I have Necromunda stuff. I'd love to try to play it. Things have evolved since I bought that set, so who knows, but yeah, I love it. And then, so you can compare how tiny, it's hard to get this back in here, but you can see how tiny these are, really, like the figures. I didn't even notice them initially. Are they on, well, there's their leg, but there's their head, the head, part of their head. It's not that dinky, but they're dinky. Look at the torso, you know. But these will be fun. I really think they'll be great, but I really should not have. These are Escher, and I should not have bought them, but it's one of those deals where I'm like, oh, but they may not be available when and if I want to get them, so I'm trying not to do that. I actually would really like to get some of the Hearthkin, the Leagues of Votan. Really would love to get those. And gosh, I saw Gene Stealer stuff, that vehicles and things like that in some I'm showing you this picture, you can't see it. Let me cut back to it, I'm sorry. Here's the minis. So yeah, these are the Necromunda. But oops, that's the little posts. But yeah, I bought these and I kind of couldn't resist. The bikes look pretty great. But yeah, see, there's a torso. There's a torso. Oops, you can't see it. It's not focused. Come on, focus. Okay. So yeah, there's a torso. There's head, hair. These are small. There's a leg. It's not too small, but you know, that's a lot more fine detail. And you can you can do the same methods. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging because the surface, it's more detailed, but it's finer. So I couldn't resist, and I did buy them, but I should not have. And you know, Games Workshop occasionally sends me stuff too. Mostly, I mean, it's been a mix. I get some fantasy and some 40K stuff. I was very close to buying a Horus Heresy set that was discounted. And he's like, you should have got it. I'm like, I really don't need it. This is when we were at BGG Con Spring. And I'm glad we didn't go back because it would have been number one getting that. It was a big box. But I would just like to try to paint some of those. I've never done any of those. But, you know, what are you going to do? Anyway, we shall be back on Thursday with a game night, and we'll play something fun, hopefully. And maybe Christoph will join us. He will have been traveling from Vegas, so I'm not sure he will have the energy. And he may not even come over that first day. He is going to stay semi-nearby. But it would be fun to have him. He's fantastic. He's been on a few episodes back in 2009 and maybe a little 2019, excuse me, and maybe into 2020. But if you can, join us on Thursday. We'll be at 5:30 Pacific Daylight Time. And let's see if there's somebody to raid. I hope I have that stuff up. I do not. We are going. Let me go to the control panel. Creator dashboard. They changed some stuff here. Stream manager, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So YouTube, you won't be able to raid, but maybe there's somebody to raid here. Wow, a bunch of French folks. Ooh. So it looks like they just, Atomic Mass Games is painting some Marvel Crisis Protocol, which I bought a box of the most recent box, probably 7 months ago. More minis I shouldn't have bought. But they're painting some Warlocks, so why don't you check that out and say hi for me. I will say goodbye to the YouTube folks in a second, but everybody else, hopefully this is mellow enough. Hold on, let me see what's on here. Darn it. Thanks so much for subbage. Thanks for the follow. I'm just getting ready to end the stream, so let me go back to that. But yeah, say hello. Oh wow, that looks like a cool mini. I've talked with Ross, who's part of that, works for Atomic Mass, and we might be doing some stuff with them. That'd be awesome. Anyway, here we go. You guys, if you want to join in, click through. If there's any, I don't know how many people are watching here, but got 2 views, 3. Thanks. And have a great week. It's beginning of the week, so hopefully we all have some fun. Take care, and hopefully I can see you guys on Thursday. Bye, everybody. Okay, YouTubers, thank you for joining. Gosh, I wish this would click to it. But thanks for joining me today. You all have a good one. Try to have a good week. And thanks for all the chat and stuff, and I will talk to you guys later. Let's see if this